Welcome, Tin, to the Speak to Lead podcast. It's great to have you on here, and today we're going to be talking about a range of subjects, but primarily around your experience in uh, building your startup, working and winning the a major industry recognition at just 28 years of age. And I think it would be really interesting to dive into how you cope with imposter syndrome and feeling like doubting yourself, even though you've accomplished so much. So for those out there listening, stay tuned for a really interesting conversation. So it would be great to first, if you could introduce yourself for anybody watching, who you are, where you're from, and what you do.
Sure. Thank you so much, Joel, for your time. I'm thrilled and very excited to be here. Very anxious as well, as you can see. My name is Ten. Ten is my nickname. Is from the word tennis because my parents met each other at a tennis court, and I have an older brother. His name is Top from Topspin. So I don't know what they're gonna do if they have a third one. Yes. So I've been working in startups all through my life since I graduated. So more than 10 years now. And the running joke is that I never worked at a profitable company before, and hopefully, my startup, the business I started 6 years ago, would be my first one. So right now, um running this healthcare marketplace in Thailand and Indonesia.
Healthcare marketplace. What is it? What is it that the company actually does, or the startup does?
Oh, sure. So, for example, right, if you're like me, I'm from Chiang Mai, I'm a country bumpkin from the north, right? I moved to Bangkok for the first time. I don't know where should I go for to see like a normal cleanup, a dentist, right? And if we had HD Mall, like my company back then, I would go on to HD Mall and, search for any treatment or any health checkup or anything that I want. And then I see on the map exactly like who offer this thing I'm looking for at what price, and I can see the reviews. I am I can also like book um through the platform directly with the clinics and hospitals. So right now we have over 2,500 clinics and hospitals on board. So yeah, we have over 30,000 packages you can book.
Wow. Okay. Uh, that's a really interesting startup. What made like what inspired you to start that? Did you come on board when it was already running? How did you get into that?
Sure. So basically, me and my other co-founders, we met at the previous startup we all worked at. The previous startup that we worked at was called e-commerce. It was one of the first and biggest e-commerce enabler in Southeast Asia. So what it does is that it helps brands like Nestle, L'Oreal, all these big brands do e-commerce, right? So I was with them since very early on. And then we pitch all the brands and retailers in Thailand and Indonesia already to like, hey, let's do e-commerce. But then by the fourth year that I was there, we pitched everyone already. So, but as a startup, we still needed to grow. So we started pitching hospitals instead, like, hey, why don't you do e-commerce? We can help you. So, but hospitals being hospitals, right? They're a bit like conservative, they're a bit slow. So me and my boss back then and like a few other friends was like, oh, we should do this ourselves. And me being like a very health concerned person among the group, I was like, oh, I'm totally like down for this. Because when I was at e-commerce too, I work so hard. I work so hard, like from 9 a.m. to like 9 or 10 or 11 p.m. almost every night. And I got massive burnouts like many times. And every time I had the burnout, I was like, why do I work so much, like selling more like lipsticks, right? I mean, it's great and all, but since I was young, like I know that my calling is like to help other people and to be able to do a business that can help people too, making healthcare more affordable. It's more aligned with like what I want to do. Yeah.
Right. So you didn't feel like the e-commerce side of things with just selling lipsticks, like you say, handbags wasn't meaningful enough.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, since I was young, right? Even up until I graduated from bachelor's from Chula, I I swear, like I never seen myself like working in corporates, like in business before. Up until that point, until graduation, it's all about like NGOs, like helping people, helping animals, right?
Right.
And then I got into like Imperial Business School, and they kind of like brainwashed me. And then here I am, like merging, like helping people with business, and I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. What makes it enjoyable now that, now that you're doing the healthcare side of things as opposed to, because essentially it sounds like you're in essentially the same business, but with a different product. Is that accurate?
Yes, yes. But I think like, you know, when now like one of the best selling packages, services that we have is HPV vaccines. Yeah, like the work is hard, but then when I see that how many injections are being delivered, I'm like, yes, like I'm protecting these women from cervical cancer, So it's a slight twist, but it makes this race a marathon that I can bear.
Ah, interesting. Now that's so. Have you felt that or found the different approach now, where you're feeling like what you're selling is really meaningful? Has that prevented burnout, or are you working less hours? How is it compared to the really long days and the burnout from the previous startup?
Sure, like I still have burnouts, but less now because of my work schedule too. Somehow when I started my own business, I work less. But I guess it's because like I'm like in my 30s now. I don't think my brain works after like 7 or 8 p.m. anymore, like when I was younger. So I have much better work-life balance now. But on the other hand, right, I also like, printed out some of the um feedback or you know, testimonials from the customers like on my deck too. Like during COVID, we're the biggest platform that have like the most ATK and PCR tests for COVID. So people came to us, right? When the government hotline and whatnot was so busy, they didn't know where to turn to. So because we did like SEO so well, right? Like anything that you search on like Google about health, about COVID, like it came to us. So we were like all hand, like 80 people of us like answering our customers on our chat platforms. And I personally like handled this case where like she was panicking if like her family will all get COVID or not. And I could like help ease her through the process. And she was like, oh, like, thank you so much. Like, this has been very helpful. You don't know like how much you have helped me and my family. I'm like, oh, like this is why I'm like working like 14 hours a day for like back then during COVID. Yeah.
Nice, yeah. So you really were able to see the benefits and
Yeah. Yeah.
the outcome of the work that you were doing.
Yes.
Nice. I'm curious because you won the number one Google Premier Partner Award at 28. Firstly, what is that, and was that to do with your previous startup or something completely different?
Yeah, it was when I was with the previous startup at e-commerce, I was the head of online marketing agency business unit across 4 countries. So back then, we're basically running ads for our clients, like where we specialize in e-commerce, and we partner with Google, of course, so we can like learn from them and like help our clients better. And there's just one time that uh, the Google team sent me some details, like, "Hey, you should you should like send them the case study of like the tools you're like building for your clients and yeah, see what happens. And I just did not think anything about it. And yeah, we won out of like 1,100 applicants worldwide. Like we won
Wow.
number one. Yeah.
So what is the award and how do you win? Like what is it?
Okay, sure. So the award itself, like have like multiple categories. What we won is called like search innovation, because one of the primary marketing channel for any like marketers is like Google search, right? When you search anything and there's like ads on top. So we primarily work with e-commerce clients. And then one of the biggest problems that they had is because the pricing on their platforms are so dynamic. E-commerce, like, you gotta update the price all the time to stay competitive, right? And you have sometimes like tens of thousands or not more like SKUs or products that you need to manage. So in order to show the most updated price on the ads, we built this tool that will like automatically fetch the prices on the platforms and update to the Google Ads automatically multiple times per day so that the customers will get the most updated price and don't get disappointed when like they click on it and go to the landing page and see different prices, for example.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was a solution for the customer more than it was for the I mean, I suppose it's a solution that for the businesses as well, but it's primarily focused on how to improve the customer journey as opposed to
Yes.
the business backend.
Yes, yes. But we built this for our clients, right? Because all of our clients are e-commerce businesses, and yeah, they have the same issues. So yeah,
Beautiful. So that was your previous startup, and now you're in the healthcare
my past, yes,
industry.
yes.
How is the your past life? Yeah. How what do you think your biggest takeaways from your experience in your past startup have been that are helping you in the one that you're in now?
Yeah, sure. I think like to be honest, like like when you go on interviews, most of the time they'll ask you this common question of like, "Oh, where do you see yourself in 5 years?" Right? Like I never have that answer. For me, like the strategy that has been working well for me in my life is to just focus on myself and do what in front of me well. So, and when I do that, then, I start building trust among the people who have worked with me, and that itself attract more opportunities in. So the same with the Google Premier Partner Award that I just mentioned, right? I did not build that to win an award. I built that just to help my clients run effective campaigns. And then it just happened to win an award, right? Or me, it's a journey to become a startup entrepreneur. I never imagined I would get to do this, but because I did well in my previous startup, and then the friends recognized each other's like skills and capabilities, and we decided to form this company together. So for me, it's just like, hey, like just focus on yourself, do what's in front of you well, and external validation. I mean, it's great. I mean, people say, oh, like, don't seek for external validation. But for me, like, yes, don't seek for it. But then when it comes, I appreciate it. Yeah.
I love that approach. That's such a good way of looking at it. The external validation is not the purpose, it's not the goal, but also, appreciate it when it comes, but keep your eye on what's actually the goal, which is to serve your customers and serve your clients.
Yeah.
So I think, because I interview quite a few founders of remote first companies and things like that. And it's always interesting getting different perspectives on like what is the attitude, what is the mindset that you need to have to build a successful business? And I think that the one that you've just spoken about really resonates is like, focus on what really matters, which is the customer and helping them in whichever way, like you mentioned with the speaking and interacting with your customers during COVID. And it's like, yeah, that's what builds a successful business, that everything else kind of comes on top. But if you nail that communication, I suppose, and the interaction with the customer. How do
Yeah.
you find, because obviously we're talking about you're taking part of this in the Speak to Lead program and wanting to improve your ability to connect and communicate with people. What's your motivation for that? Is that so you can communicate better with your clients, or what's the
Okay,
goal?
I laugh because yes, like sometimes when I'm in like high stake situations, like in boardrooms, for example, and they talk about like financial numbers. Oh, those are my kryptonites. Like even though like I love math as a kid, I even like participate in like math Olympics, like in like middle school. But then like after that, I kind of like lost it. And like when they spoke about numbers, I'm just like, what? Like I just need to like process it a bit longer than like the finance guys. But okay, but that is like what I constantly feel sometimes when I'm in the boardroom. But like what like the reason why I'm laughing is like what really triggered me to like start searching for a coach for my like speaking is because I was once like went on a date with this guy. He's a barista. Of course, he's like so articulate, right? He graduated from like Harvard and Oxford, right? Like the way he talks is like so beautiful. It's like poems coming out of his mouth, right? And then we went on a date and we were like in his car. He's like, "Oh, this is my favorite song, like Nat King Cole." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm like vibing. I really like this." Until he asked me like, "What do you think about the song?" Right? And like, oh shit, like my head started exploding because I want to impress him. I want to say something like beautiful, like the way he says things too. I want to say things like, "Hey, you know, I love the interaction between the lines and the layers and this and that, right?" But like, I couldn't find the words. I couldn't search for the right words. So what I replied to him is just like, "Oh, I love it. It's very nice." I'm like, "Oh, I'm so basic." So, but yes, that's like the trigger for me to like, okay, I need to do better than this. I'm better than this.
That's so funny. Your your motivation to improve your speaking was
Yes,
born out of the fact that you couldn't articulate what you thought of the song on a date.
yes. I know I'm capable. It's just I'm so
I
nervous.
love it.
Yeah.
Do you think it was the nerves in that situation, or like obviously you're probably comparing your ability to speak to this guy who was, really impressive. Do you think that's what made it difficult for you to articulate yourself, or was it more a lack of skill or insight into the subject that you were talking about?
Uh, I think it's both, right? I think like when I talk about things I know about, like what we're talking about now, I think I'm pretty conversational. I think I can carry the conversations. But I think in that moment, it's like the nerve, is like the like, you know, like yeah, I want to impress and like all these things coming together. And because when like I was so nervous and I don't have the structure, right? So I'm just like searching for in the void. But now that I'm like been, working with Ben for almost 2 years now, at least like I know like when I'm in that void, I can pull out some like structures or like things that we practice to at least like starting the conversation, start replying something.
Right, yeah. So you kind of have something to anchor you that you can go, okay, here I can start, take my first step and then get into the flow.
Exactly. Exactly. That's like tools in my pockets. I'm like, yeah.
Do you Okay, so the motivation was born out of that situation in your private life. Is there anything else? Are you hoping to, bring these skills, the ability to communicate more effectively into the work environment? Is that something that's also a benefit for you?
I think like in the normal day-to-day work environment, I'm pretty confident. 'Cause I think, it's mostly like two-way communications anyway, right? When I communicate something to my team, if they don't get it, they'll ask me, and I'll know what to, clarify more or if I need to give more examples or not, right? But, like, in, like, the public speaking arena, right, I feel like it's a bit nerve-wracking because it's, like, one and done, right? Is you kinda like it kinda demands a perfection from you. Like, you can't go back and say like, "Oh, actually, at this point, I wanna add something," like what you do in, like, a normal day-to-day conversation. And I'm, like, a perfectionist, and I wanna do it well. I think that that backfires me 'cause, I'm like, "Oh, I don't wanna miss anything. I don't wanna make a mistake." So, it's, like, a very different pressure. Yeah,
Yeah, you get like stuck in your head trying to get it right, and then you can't get anything out.
exactly. Because what?
Yeah,
Like
it's a
some analysis paralysis? Is that what they call it?
analysis paralysis. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I've heard from Ben that you're interested in doing more of these, like, PR maybe for your business, for your startup, or interviews and things like that. So I suppose you're wanting to put yourself in those situations where you potentially make a mistake and can't correct it. Is that also part of the reason you're wanting to do this training?
Yes, I think I'm personally quite a spiritual person, and I find this exercise by putting myself out there quite a spiritual like journey that I've taken on. Like I notice myself that I have a lot of limiting beliefs around like, oh, I don't have anything interesting to share or I'm too scared like to make mistakes in front of a lot of people. And Ben has been helping me addressing all these issues. So I also found that on top of these like hard skills that we've been working on, all the structure, all the storytelling skills, all these tools and methods and whatnot. I think Ben has like been helping me so much on like unlocking all these like limiting beliefs. And one of the things he said to me recently was actually quite powerful when he said that, "Hey, Ten, do you know that like most impromptu speeches that we've seen on YouTube or on like whatnot that we see, they're actually not that impromptu because the speaker has been like telling their stories for so many times and it gets so much practice. That's why it looks so like effortless, right?" So I was like, yeah, that is so true, right? And then I keep comparing myself, trying to answering something for the first time with like those like speakers who've been telling a story for like 1,000 times already. And I was like, oh, why am I not like them, right? So I think, yeah, it's a journey for me to be okay with, showing my progress too, like what I'm learning and not waiting for me to have the success to share. Yeah. So I think that's the mindset actually.
That's such a great mindset to have. Like, instead of trying to put out a finished product, which it's so interesting that you have that, because obviously as a startup, you must be also working on like, what can we, a minimum viable product, what can we put out there that's good enough
Yeah.
that we can then build on. But then when it comes to our own, putting ourselves out there, so often we feel like, oh, we have to be the finished product before we show ourselves to the world. And
Yeah. Mm.
making that switch to be like, okay, I can show the process, I can be the minimal viable product, and build on it. It's interesting, you said that you struggle sometimes with feeling like you don't have anything interesting to share. But I find that fascinating coming from somebody who, you've been a part of two startups already. I mean, I don't know how old you said you're in your 30s now. Three startups, right? So like and you've won this prestigious Google award, and you've done all of these things, and people looking at you from the outside would go like, wow, this woman, she's accomplished so much, she's done so much, she's got so many stories to tell. What do you think what is it about yourself, or what do you think is the main reason why you don't feel like you have an interesting story to tell? What's the real
Yeah,
reason?
yeah, sure. I think there's a theory around it, right? There's this like professor at Yale. Her name is like Dr. Laurie Santos. He also a leading researcher on happiness and fulfillment, right? He said that the problem is that we don't evaluate our situation objectively. We do it relative to those around us, right? So rich people compare their financial status with like even richer people. And same goes for everything like productive, smart, accomplished, pretty, skinny, you name it, right? And I'm just like blessed and not blessed at the same time to be like surrounded by so many successful people, however you define it, right? They like have more money than I do, they're more healthy than I am, they have more free time than I have, right? And my friends are pretty extreme, right? The one who's like on the spiritual path, they went on like 45-day pilgrimage in Japan. They practice Kundalini all the time, that they have like out of body experience, or like the like very financial rich people that already retired and they're just like interested in snowboarding at some point after they're retired, and they now just wanted to go at it and now became a snowboard instructor, right? And then one person became a full-time farmer, just like, he's like, oh, anyone wants like eggs from my chickens, right? I'm like, whoa, these people, right? So that's why I'm like, I'm just a normal person, right? I think having like starting a startup is like the most basic thing around like these people. So I'm like, okay, like I don't have anything to add. I'm just a normal like person working in the office. Yeah.
Are
Yep.
you as part of that spiritual journey, are you starting to like reflect on that and starting to question those beliefs and those thoughts about, not having something interesting to tell? Or
Yeah. Okay. I think I later on started to see a bigger picture, right? That it's okay that others know better than me, right? And but there are also areas that I know better than them too, right? I think that's when I started to feel like, oh, okay, actually, not everyone has to be good at the same thing, right? I think everybody has something they're good at. Like I might do well in my career, but I am horrible cook, right? Air fryer is my friend, and then I throw things in a pot and call it cooking, right? Or you probably don't want to like hear me singing. It's like pretty horrible, right? And so I just need to be able to see that in everyone, right? And then for the things that I'm not very good at, like I'm learning, right? But without guilt that like, oh, I need to like be a grade A student across all the disciplines. I don't force that upon myself anymore. Or I'm leaning to onto others, right? In the areas that I'm not like very good at. So I think now I'm have a more like balanced view of like, proud of what I'm accomplished, of what I am, but like so humble enough to like learn from others and grow from that too. I'm like not completely 100% there yet, but I'm doing better every year and progress is good.
I see, it's so important to be able to notice that progress as well. I think, what you touched on before about comparing yourself to what somebody's done 1,000 times, and feeling bad about it. We do this in all aspects of our lives. Especially
Yeah,
now, because you have social media that allows you to compare your life to the highlights of everybody else's. And it's no wonder that people struggle to feel like they've got something worthwhile sharing with the world, because you know all of your mess, and
yes,
all you're seeing is somebody else's pristine
yes.
highlights. And it's like, yeah, well, you're always going to fall short in that comparison.
That is
So,
so very true, right? Yeah, yeah. So
yeah,
now like
being
Instagram
able.
is full of like animals.
That's yeah, it's a good way of doing it. But then you might get into the habit of you start
Mm.
comparing people who get to spend time with animals all the time, and you're like, oh, their life is so amazing, and I'm just stuck in the office working on this startup.
No, now I'm like, oh, I just want to be a cat in my next life. Life looks pretty good.
Yeah, it could be less stressful. I mean, you did pick startups as your challenge to tackle. You could have picked an easier way.
I know, like I just went to an event last weekend with Mo Godard too. Like he's like, this
Mo
do you
got
know
it. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I've
So
heard him
like
speak as well.
oh, he's amazing. I think like he has a good balance between tech and like what life is about, right? And I was like, I was so impressed by his talk. I was waiting in line for so long to like get to talk to him. And when I saw him, I introduced myself like, "Hey Mo, like I love your session so much. I'm a tech entrepreneur." So that like he, you know, understand that I appreciate him from the tech point of view too, right? And like, oh, I'm a tech entrepreneur. And like the first thing he said, he didn't even let me finish my sentence, is that, "Why do you do that to yourself?" I'm like, "I know, right?" Yeah.
Yeah, because he's been there and understands the struggle.
Yeah, I'm like, "Why?"
Why do you do it? Why do you think you've chosen one of the? I mean, one could argue it's one of the more difficult or most
Mm.
difficult paths to go down. What makes you choose that path?
I think for me, like after working at e-commerce too, we work with a lot of corporates, right? And I know how they work internally, and I was like, no, that is not the life for me. I'm pretty stubborn and I want to do things my way. So I guess like being entrepreneur is the only way that I get to do things the way I want to. Yeah.
All right, so it's that freedom. I mean, the freedom to choose your struggle.
Yeah, yeah. And then now, like looking back, right? Even I got a pay cut and everything, like joining this company with a lot of uncertainties ahead. I feel like this is definitely things I would choose over and over. I wouldn't
Mm,
choose like the corporate life, even though it's like paying me so much more with more stability. This is the life for me. I embrace the struggle.
Price, yeah, yeah. I
Mm.
think that's also like such a good mindset or mindset to have, and something to think about it also for the people out there watching who are thinking about going and doing something for themselves, a startup or creating their own business, is that it might be a struggle, or it almost certainly will be a struggle, but it will be your struggle. And
Yeah.
sometimes just the fact that it's your struggle and it's your decision to embrace the struggle makes it all worthwhile and makes it bearable, when it's, the alternative is struggling, but for somebody else's dream, somebody else's business. And so it's worthwhile keeping that in mind for anybody out there, I think, who's wanting to start their business.
Yeah, I think that is why like I like would my advice to anyone who want to start a business, right? That's like there's so many opportunities out there. My favorite podcast is like My First Million. Like they talk about new business ideas all the time, and the guys are hilarious. I love them so much. But anyway, but like there's so many business opportunities out there, but not everyone is for you, right? And then like you see me, you see everyone, like all entrepreneurs like struggle, right? It's not gonna be you know, smooth all the way through. That's just not gonna happen. So you gotta pick something that you can stick around for like 10 years, 20 years, right? Through ups and downs. There's never gonna be the down, right? If you choose something you're not very passionate about, when the downs come, you're not gonna fight for it. It's just draining you so much. Yeah.
Hmm. What would you say to anybody out there who's wondering how to find something that they're passionate about? Because I think a lot of people really struggle to know what that is.
Yeah. I think for me, it starts with observing yourself. I think there are things that you naturally tend to gravitate towards, like tend to do anyway, without anyone telling you to. Like for me, for example, I love like being healthy and active. You don't need to tell me to go exercise. I will do it myself. Right. But there are things in life that I procrastinate, like I don't cook, for example. So me probably don't wanna, chef is not a life path for me, right? But maybe fitness instructor, viable, right? If I don't have this business, right? There are things that like you naturally want to learn more about, you want to be better at. I think those are the things that you like a right fit for you. And you can be creative in how you monetize your skills and what you're interested in. I think one of my team members, he's like so passionate in fashion, even though he's like working in health. I was like, yeah, just like, you don't need to work here. I support you to go anywhere and like shine. I don't want, like, life is short. Don't just like spend 8 hours a day doing things you don't like. If you're passionate about like fashion, I don't know much about fashion, but you should go for it. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's so true. It's just why waste your time? You gotta, it runs out either way. Why would you spend it doing something you don't like? I think one of the pieces of advice that I love what you said there around, paying attention to the things that you're naturally drawn to. And one piece of advice that I give my clients is that, pay attention to the things that bother you as well. One of the ways of finding the right fit is often to the things that crop up all of the time. These problems
Yeah.
where you notice a problem and it repeatedly, shows itself to you. That you can look at that and think, well, that's your problem to solve. The reason that you see it, the reason that it keeps coming up, is because it's your problem to deal with. And if you can find a way of combining those two aspects of what you're naturally drawn to and also what naturally pops up as an issue for you on a repeated basis, then you're onto a winning formula. And like you say, being creative around how you can monetize it.
Yes. I think so. And if you like really have no idea, I think you can start asking people around you, because I think like if it's something you're good at, it comes easy to you. Sometimes you don't know that you're good at those things, right? So I think just by asking people around you will help you understand yourself much better already.
Yeah, gain that perspective, that outside perspective, because sometimes we're too locked in our own problems that we can't kind of see what we're naturally good at or drawn to. Yeah, it's great advice. I wanted to, just before we wrap up, I also heard that you're also interested in creating a woman's space of some sort, a community for women. What is is that the case, and what was the thought behind that and the motivation for doing that?
Yeah, sure. Like I don't know how am I gonna do it yet, right? But across my career, I've worked with like hundreds of people, and it's just like it's just a pattern I keep seeing in my team, and something I see in myself as well when I do like one-on-ones with them. Like for example, like the women tend to blame themselves first if anything wrong or bad happen, right? Or they would tend to not ask for what they need. I'm that person too, right? Or they tend to not speak up. and stand up for themselves. Like I just keep seeing myself in them so much. And because I've been like working for a long time now, I'm an auntie now. I've like experienced a bit. I have like some tools that I want to be able to share with them. Right. So this is what I've been doing within my team, not something big, not a community or anything yet. And the feedback that I've been getting is that, oh, like it's very helpful. It helps me like navigate my life better. Like this week, for example, we had a big team gatherings and try to address the hesitation of giving each other feedback. It's like a Thai thing too. Like, oh, I don't want to give that person feedback because it might upset them, this or that. So I got everyone together and say, hey guys, let's align on this, that honesty is kindness, right? And I gave them example of this time where my friend sat me down and said, hey, Tan, you know what? Like when I approach you with some new projects that we have or questions at work, your face is like so annoyed and angry. So that's why people don't want to come to you. I was like, oh my God, I didn't even like realize that. So thank you for letting me know. Right. Of course, it's hard to hear at first, but then like I realized there and then that like he was so brave to like tell me that. And that's for me is what real friend is, right? So that's what I share with the team and ask them to like not judge the person, right? Sometimes the person just doesn't know, not even aware of this, and just focus on the facts first. Like, hey, you did this, right? And this is the impact, and how can we, move on together, right? And of course, I asked him to, give it some time because even for me, it took me years. Even now, I still do it sometimes. I like make a annoyed face, but then at the end of the day, like I want to be better. I want to improve myself, and when I improve myself, other people work with me more easily too. So work just flow better. It's like win-win situation. So this is what I shared with them last time. Yeah.
Yeah, that's we're so often we're blind to our own ignorance, and we really don't know what we don't know, and it's so important that we recognize that when we want to give advice and maybe holding back, sometimes it's like, no, if you want to help somebody, then it's important to be able to create a space where you can do that, because that your advice or your perspective might really help somebody, but also
Yeah.
creating that space where you can receive feedback and figure out what you're missing.
Yeah, exactly. And this is like one of the
So
tools
true.
that can be using the rest of their life, not just in at work, right? But in personal lives as well.
Exactly. And are you hoping with the tools and the methods that you're learning in the Speak to Lead program, is that part of your desire to, you know, connect with these women and help them?
Um, I think for me, just going back to our theme of like focusing on myself first, I want to be able to express myself without fears. And I think that is one of the biggest like gifts that you can ever give to yourself, right? To be able to express yourself freely. And I want to be able to do that. And then I just hope that when I express myself, my messages will be relatable to someone out there and they will find what I share helpful. I think like, I work with my acupuncturist too. He's like a very zen guy. He's like very loving, very calm. And I really love what he said to me. He's like, no, I'm not helping people. I'm just doing what I know and, you know, to get the health of my patients better. I'm not a healer. I'm not a helper. And I think I really like that mindset, right? I don't want to think that I'm better than other people, that I can help other people. I just hope that what I share with the world, my experiences, my attitude, like me, myself, me doing me, will resonate with someone out there.
Yeah, you're hoping that you focus on doing what you can, sharing your message, and not concerning yourself about what kind of impact it's having, even though you hope that it will have a good impact.
Yeah, so I think it's going back to
Is
yeah, like my the things have been the strategy has been working well for me, right? Just focus on myself and what's ever in front of me and just hope that it will help someone. Yeah.
I love that approach. I think it's obviously serving you well as well, with the progress that you've had and the feedback you're getting from the people that are around you, even if you're not intentionally out there to help them, clearly you are. And I think it's wonderful that you're looking at ways to be out there more, to share your message, and I do think it's going to impact people in a positive way, even if that's not the stated sole purpose of doing it.
Yeah, like I don't want to be like, oh, you should do this to be successful. You need to do that, right? I think that's like patronizing a little bit. I just wanna again like share my stories and hope it resonates. Yeah.
Well, I think it's a wonderful place to start, just to end. Sorry, it's a great place to end the episode. Before we do finish up, is there anything that you wanted to share with the audience that we haven't maybe touched on already? Any final parting message?
I think like from outsiders looking in, right? A lot of people think that I'm a superwoman, but I hope that like throughout this episode, I you hear that I'm a human too, and I know a lot of business leaders and successful people out there. They're humans too, and we share human experience of like having fears, having like uncertainties, wanting to revert back to our comfort zone, and yeah, so you're not alone in this, and yeah, I just want you to feel like you're not alone, and with the tools and with the right mindset, I think you can, take your time, rest and whatnot, and finally like come back up and, embrace life, embrace the struggles, embrace being a human together. Yeah, we're in this together.
It's a beautiful message. Yeah, I really resonate with that. Well, thank you so much, Ten, for coming on and having this conversation with me. It's been really insightful and enjoyable for me. For the watchers out there, if you're ready to embrace the struggle as Ten has and learn to communicate effectively, take your speech and your public speaking to the next level, then there's a link in the description below if you want to learn about the Speak to Lead program and join up. Ten, thank you. Yeah, check it out exactly in the in the description. Um, Thank you so much for speaking with me today.
Thank you so much, y'all. This like so fun.
Excellent. All right. See ya.
Bye.